Well, let's speak with Juliette Touma, who is in Amman. She's the communications director at the United Nations Relief and Work Agency. Juliette, do you recognise that assessment of UN programmes in Gaza, that they're in tatters? What are your colleagues on the ground saying?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It is right on the brink with all the challenges that this humanitarian operation has been facing since the war began. It is no surprise that we are where we are at the moment. You see, for weeks on end, there were no humanitarian supplies coming into the Gaza Strip during the early stages of this war, and then aid started literally to trickle in as if it's by the drop, right? And then there was no fuel on these convoys. The humanitarian needs on the ground continued to grow meanwhile, and so this is why we are at the brink. This is why we are at a point of no return for humanitarian operations. This is why there needs to be a humanitarian ceasefire right now.
And Juliette, there are growing concerns that there may be a complete breakdown of public order amid these hugely challenging conditions in the Strip. What's your take on that?
Well, again, this should not come as a surprise at all. People are frustrated, they are tired, they're in fact exhausted after 2 months of hell that they've been going through, apart from that pause that people had eventually for just over a week. Their day is made of constant bombardment, of displacement, of despair. They are hungry, they are angry, and this is very understandable.
And what are your thoughts on the so-called safe zones that the Israeli military has been asking civilians to evacuate to?
There is no such thing as a safe zone in the Gaza Strip. Nowhere is safe in the Gaza Strip, not the north, not the middle areas, and not the south. There's constant bombardments everywhere. People have moved multiple times. I have a colleague who told us she moved 10 times during the past 2 months. And now people are asked to move again due to this Israeli authorities' evacuation order, to move again from the south, from Khan Yunis, which is the second largest city in the Gaza Strip, even further south towards the border with Egypt. It's not that there is no safe zone or safe area or safety in general. There's no place to go. People have no place to go.
And Juliette, just briefly, what about epidemics breaking out, which is something even Israeli leaders don't want to happen? How close are we to that? And could you paint a picture of what might happen if an epidemic really took hold there?
Yes, diseases have no borders, and we know from other conflicts that diseases travel. They don't need passports to cross borders or checkpoints, and diseases are indeed spreading. We have reported early on the spread of diseases among children, as one example, diarrhea and other diseases, scabies. This is all due to the living conditions, including in under shelters, by the way. It's overcrowded. I visited one myself, and there is not enough clean water. People have to queue for hours on end just to go to the toilet. So it is, again, not a surprise that diseases are spreading. They are going to continue to spread. And soon enough, we're going to have people dying as a result, not only of the heavy bombardment, but also because of the siege. And disease and diseases is one byproduct of this siege.
Juliette Touma from the United Nations Relief and Work Agency, thank you for joining us with those details on some really appalling situation inside Gaza.